The Ace Attorney series is among my favourite video game franchises of all time. Currently ranked as my number 9th favourite series, this collection of video games is one thing that Capcom could be proud of, along with these, but that's besides the point. With a unique gameplay which doesn't involve any punch-ups or gunfights, you'd expect it to be a bit boring. But you'd be wrong, my friend. You'd be very wrong. These games have some of the most incredible plots I've seen in any form of media since Professor Layton and Metal Gear, so you can guarantee that there will be some cases in this series that people will never forget. So here are my top 10 favourite Ace Attorney cases. Just remember that this is strictly my opinion and by no means fact. So if you're going to raise an objection of your own because Turnabout Succession ain't on this list, then sorry buddy, but I ain't changing. I'm also not including anything from Layton v. Wright because that's essentially one big case. And I haven't played Ace Attorney Investigations 2 because it was a Japan only, and I'm not including anything from that. Be warned, there is going to be spoilers for every game and every case on this list. So get your badge ready, your objections ready, and your Court of Steel ready, because it's time to rock. I'll be honest and say that I don't actually know what the fan reception for Dual Destinies was, but I'm glad that Capcom decided to bring Phoenix back for it. And the new writer of the series for Phoenix Wright anyway, Takashi Yamazaki, did well to put this series on par with the other games. The first contender on this list from Dual Destinies is Case 5, and the last case chronologically, Turnabout for Tomorrow. This is one bizarre case. Being a case which takes place straight after the Cosmic Turnabout, you know something big's gonna go down. Athena, your new companion, has been charged for the murder of Clay Terran. Now Wright has to figure out what really happened, with the help of some old faces. So let's just start there. This case doesn't introduce any brand new characters, brings back 2 more characters, but now 16-year-old Pearl and...
I'm back!
That's right, Edgeworth's back, and he's English for some reason.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. And makes a reference to another via letter. Good old Mayor. While the plot for Turnabout for Tomorrow is just as strange as any other last case in the series, it's definitely one which will have you arguing with yourself as for who the main villain is throughout the case. And it also makes quite a few references to previous cases in the game, especially the first and obviously the fourth. So, what exactly makes this case special compared to the other cases? 2 words. Robot Rebellion. I am serious. There is a robot rebellion when the robots start taking hostages at the Space Center, including Trucy. Edgeworth also says quite possibly the most extreme thing he has ever said. Edgeworth believes and convinces the entire court that what Athena did to her own mother in the Hat 1 incident 7 years ago. Just damn Edgeworth. I can't really explain much of it because it will spoil a lot of the case, but long story short, everybody believes Athena mutilated her own mother.
That is messed up.
For what puts this case in the top 10 is because of how well it's thought out and the large amount of character development that was put into characters like Athena, Fulbright, and especially Black Quill. We finally get to find out why he's a convict as well. Even now, I still find myself struggling to accept the killer being who it was. But there is one thing about this case I don't understand. Why is this case and Case 4 separate cases? I think it should have just been one case, considering they're both under the same plot, and you're trying to find the same killer for the same victim, but that's besides the point. But like I said, I can't be the only one who thinks that picture when young Athena is smiling at Black Quill with blood across her face is pretty fucking scary. The way I see things, which of course is the right way of seeing things, Apollo Justice gets a lot of undeserved hate. While it is admittedly one of the weaker games in the series, I thought it had a good selection of characters despite not having many recognisable ones, and quite possibly the second best soundtrack in the series. And had some really good cases as well. Turnabout Serenade is one of them. Just from those first few seconds, you can tell this case is going to be about music. Not samurais, not chefs, not even about card games. It's about the half German, half American rock god we know as Klavier Gavin, and his band, the Gaviners. The beginning of this case starts off with the Gaviners rocking the show with, well, awesome music, with Apollo getting dragged along by Trucy. Once they get backstage, we meet a bit more of the cast. The blind Maki Tobe, Lemore, Darian Crossan and his hair, and Romain Latos. After the calm yet rather likeable second performance, known as the Guitar Serenade, which involves Klavier doing a bit of magic and having his guitar set on fire. Fire! 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 Funny. But during the third performance, you find out that some guy shot Mr. Latos. But why would they do such a thing? So, after finding out that Darian fucked up his performance ever so slightly, and that the Guitar Serenade predicted the entire crime, the 14-year-old blind, foreign Maki Tobe has been accused of murdering Mr. Latos. Welcome to America, Maki. Plot-wise, Serenade doesn't offer anything brand new like a lot of the last cases, and it doesn't even make any references to previous or later cases. It's just a single story plot, which is really great and introduces us to a lot of characters, and even one of the most vital characters for the fourth case, the incredible Valent Grammaire, or Grammaire. I don't know how you pronounce it, just go along with it. The case does admittedly drag on a little, but the amount of suspense moment and plot twist throughout the case, and the fact you listen to Guilty Love throughout the case, makes it all the worthwhile. Oh, and my favourite breakdown is in this case. It might be because I have slightly strange logic, but I think if the first case of an Ace Attorney game isn't all that great, then I don't have high hopes for the game. So I wasn't exactly all that excited for Justice for All or Investigation, since the first cases for both those games didn't impress me too much. I was, however, very keen on Trials and Tribulations and Apollo Justice, because the first case of both of those games were downright awesome. Memories in particular is a case which starts off a bit differently from most first cases in the series, for one simple reason: you are not playing as Phoenix, but rather his deceased mentor Mia Fey, in her second case, who conveniently enough is defending Phoenix. This case also brought back an old face from the first game, Mr. Marvin Grosberg, who still has a throat clearing problem. Being in the first case, this trial isn't all that complicated. You just need to defend a high school student from a murder of another student. Throughout the case, there are traces of evidence which link this case to two other cases which happened previously, one from a couple days ago and another from about a year ago, which Mia conveniently enough was the defense for. And about halfway through the case, Mia discovers something which you never find out about until the fourth case. I'm not going to spoil anything because it will spoil the first case, the fourth case, and maybe even a little bit of the fifth case. Okay, this is awkward. No, I don't have much to talk about. Alright, out of all the cases in the series, this one probably has the most interest in it, because of some certain pieces of evidence which is presented during the case, which is given to Phoenix by his apparent girlfriend, Dahlia Hawthorne, which leads to so many questions needing to be answered. I mean, this evidence caused Mia to freak out when she saw it. It might not seem so important to someone playing it for the first time, but when you do a second playthrough, you will know how vital that pendant is. It also gives us a taste of some new music and remixes of the game, even if a bit of it sounds a little 8-bit. Memories is a great first case because it was left with so many cliffhangers and questions to be asked, and having you play as Mia in one of her first cases is a much better excuse for a tutorial than that pathetic amnesia plot Justice for All gave you. As for why I like Apollo Justice's first case, I'll get to that a little bit later. Alright, it's gonna be a bit sad for some of you fans out there to hear that Turnabout Goodbyes is the only case representing the first Ace Attorney game on this list. Sorry Rise from the Ashes fans, but you can't deny that Goodbyes is a fantastic final case. Taking place on Christmas Day, this case starts off with two guys on a boat in the middle of the night. Don't ask. When one of them suddenly gets a very nice present from the other guy. So what happens now? They're gonna show us the plot? Oh nah, oh hell nah, take that off screen right now. So when Wright gets told that Edgeworth is the one who killed the guy who was in the boat called Robert Hammond, Wright takes Edgeworth's case without Edgeworth's permission. So while Wright's trying to solve this case, he meets a couple new characters. For example, Lotta Hart, a southern girl who's trying to take photos of a sea monster which appeared at the night of the crime, Gordy. And the return of everybody's favourite idiot, Larry Bird, who actually turns out to be the one responsible for Gordy's existence. You see, since Larry is a bumbling idiot, he decides to bring a giant steel samurai balloon to Gore Lake on the day of the crime. But being a complete idiot, Larry somehow manages to break the balloon, causing all of America to go haywire because of the thought that a giant sea monster is lurking in Gore Lake. It's definitely shown better in the character side of the movie, but I doubt you've watched that. Goodbyes always tells you a lot of the backstory behind basically the main characters, Wright, Maya, and Edgeworth. So much that you actually find out why both Wright and Edgeworth became lawyers, as well as find out a lot about Edgeworth's really tragic past, and how he believed that he shot his own dad in an elevator 15 years ago. If this case does have one problem, if it introduces one of my most hated video game characters in existence, Manfred von Karma. My god, I hate this guy. For reasons which are explained throughout the case, but he takes over the trial and plays it so that it constantly goes his way. And before a trial, he tases both Wright and Maya, and steals certain evidence revolving around the DL6 incidents, and, bigger spoiler alert, he's the man responsible for murdering Edgeworth's father, Gregory. But when you find him guilty, Manfred loses it completely.
I don't wanna live! I do not want to live!
Oh well, the bastard got what he deserved. Other than that evil old guy, this is a fantastic case. Definitely my favourite case from the original. And just one more thing I'd like to point out. How in the holy name of Ryuk did nobody notice that gunshot for 15 years? Ace Attorney Investigations. How I love you so. Investigations is probably my favourite game in the Ace Attorney series, and it was a rather interesting turn on the gameplay side of the series. Most of the cases, while different, were very fun. Honourable mentions go to Airlines and Reminiscence. But the first case representing investigations on this list is the third case in the game. The Kidnap turnabout, to be exact. Now this is an old case. After that incredible cliffhanger left from Airlines, Edgeworth is now having to do his friend Ernst Armano a favour. His son has been, kidnapped by ninjas. Well no, he actually hasn't, but it'd be great if he had. So Edgeworth has to pay money to the said kidnappers at a haunted mansion. Well, surely ain't gonna be that creepy if it's a haunted mansion at a kid's amusement park, right? Wait, why is there a kid's blue badge there? Hold on. Where'd the pretty music go? Is it gone? Anyway, after that painful memory which I will never forget no matter how much I try happens, Edgeworth is found tied up in a storage room by ninjas! Not really. But Edgeworth meets his new companion for the first time since case 4. Work that one out if you can. Kay Faraday. Kay helps him escape when Miles discovers that the kidnapping has got Interpol involved, and you meet two new characters, Sheena and the master of badassery by Shilong Lang, who is the only character in the series whose theme involves saxophone, aka the song you're listening to now. Along with those two, you get Lauren Palt, I think that's how you spell it anyway, Ernst Armano and Lance Armano. This case does revive some old great characters as well, such as Emma Skye, that bumbling moron Mike Meekins, Old Bag, and those damn badgers. However, this time there are two new badgers to join the Blue and Pink Badger. Those are the Bear Badger and the previously mentioned Proto Badger. Fuck you, no eyes. The Kidnap Turbo also introduces one of my favourite forms of gameplay introduced in investigations, the Little Thief mode. Acquired by Kay's father, Brian, Little Thief can basically let you recreate a crime scene in thermal vision, and update what happens during a recreation, and even investigate the recreation, and has some very good investigation music. Like I said, this case starts off as a kidnapping, but when you escape that prison cell, meet Lang and do a little bit of investigating around the Wild West part of the park, you discover the corpse of some old guy, and would you believe it, the case eventually became a murder case, with you having to defend Lauren, who is believed to have killed Oliver Deacon, who was eventually come to be Colin Devore. And at the entrance, if you look closely, you can see... You just couldn't help it, could you, Capcom?